Good evening. As we join you tonight, large-scale evacuations are underway in west central Florida. Tampa this evening sitting in the current projected path of Hurricane Ian. The system forecasters have been watching develop for days. Now a Category 2 hurricane and intensifying as it bears down on western Cuba with sustained winds of 100 miles per hour. Expected to make landfall mid to late week somewhere along the Florida Gulf Coast. Right now, heavy traffic on roads leading from the Tampa area, where hundreds of thousands are now under mandatory evacuation orders. The rituals of disaster in full motion, a run on food, gas, and supplies underway in many areas. Let's start tonight with the latest tracking update. Al Roker joins us. Al, what are you seeing?
Well, Lester, here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. As you mentioned, a Category 2 storm, winds 100 miles per hour, 155 miles southeast of the western tip of Cuba, moving northwest at 13 miles per hour. We have hurricane warnings, watches, and tropical storm warnings for much of Florida as we move to the north. 19 million people at risk for those warnings. The path of the storm, here's the good news. The good news is we're going to see some wind shear as this comes closer to landfall, and that will weaken it. The bad news, two bad things. We've got Gulf waters that are upwards of 5 degrees warmer than usual. That fuels the storm, and it's going to slow down about 3 to 4 miles per hour. We can walk that fast, and that's going to bring prolonged rain, wind, and storm surge. In fact, you speak about the winds. You look here right through Thursday into Friday morning. Sustained winds 45 to 60 miles per hour with gusts of up to 90 miles per hour. Storm surge 5 to 10 feet. That could be catastrophic. Upwards of 2 to 4 feet as you get down to the south. And we're looking at upwards of 20 inches of rain, Lester. That is going to be a big, big problem as we move into the week. But we'll continue to track it and fine-tune that track. Lester? All
right, Al, thanks for that update. Tonight, all of Florida under a state of emergency amid fears the Tampa area could see its first direct hit from a major hurricane in more than a century. Sam Brock is on the ground there.
Tonight, Floridians on the move, hoping to avoid disaster after mandatory evacuations were issued in multiple counties for hundreds of thousands of people.
We did not make this decision easily, but this storm poses a serious threat, and we must do everything we can to protect our residents.
The call coming as Tampa projects to see double-digit storm surge and 100-mile-an-hour plus sustained winds. Florida challenged by an aging population with less mobility.
We ask that our long-term care facilities begin their evacuations today. We're already seeing some of our hospitals do that.
Some families now making the decision to hit the road.
I don't know how good of a job that's going to do.
Anna Griggs is evacuating to a hotel.
So you want some help?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
The mother of 2 teenagers lives blocks from the bay. They're not sure what they'll even return to.
You stand to lose a good chunk of your livelihood if there's damage to this house.
We do, yes.
Is that your biggest concern?
I think it is. It's partly that, but it's also the fact that this is our home.
This is their roots, this is attachment.
Yeah.
And that could be severely damaged, if not destroyed.
Yeah.
Supplies are in high demand. Residents waiting in lines for hours for sandbags.
How long have you been waiting this morning?
I've been here since 5 a.m.
About 5:30.
And water supplies running thin.
I just got here and it's saying that there's no water here.
Challenges all unfolding with a storm whose wrath has yet to be fully felt.
It's really scary. I think it's not so much about losing your stuff. I think it's just about this is a home, and that would be really sad if that happened.
And Sam, we're talking about a lot of people on the move. What does the evacuation look like at this hour?
Lester, just starting. Behind me is Clearwater and Pinellas County, which began the process tonight of evacuating some 300,000 people, then 400,000 tomorrow. The storm is projected to slow down to the rate that you and I walk at, meaning the storm will be sitting here just dumping water and ratcheting up the risk for flooding. Lester?
All right, Sam Brock, thank you. And as Ian marches northwest, a hurricane warning in effect tonight for western Cuba. Guad Venegas is there for us in Havana. And Guad, how serious is the situation there tonight?
Lester, 5 million people in Cuba are under hurricane alert. It's expected to touch down as a Category 3 in the west part of the country. These are winds of 129 miles per hour. They're expecting 6 to 8 inches, maybe 10 inches of rain. Pinar del Rio, this is the province that will get the worst. They have about 500,000 people there, 50,000 already evacuated by the military. We're getting reports that 4 reservoirs in that part of the country are already overflowing. Now, here in Havana, the U.S. Embassy has asked Americans to shelter in place. They shut down today and tomorrow. In fact, the water you're seeing next to me expected to rise and affect some of these buildings in Havana. Lester?
Guad Venegas, thank you. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.